Welcome back to our channel. Today we delve into the sensational and scandalous life of Gypsy Rose Lee, the woman who revolutionized burlesque with her wit, charm, and daring performances. Known as one of history's most provocative entertainers, Gypsy captivated audiences with her unforgettable stage presence and unique storytelling style. But beyond the glitz and glamour of the spotlight lies a life filled with hardship, family drama, and jaw-dropping controversies. From her tumultuous childhood under the control of an overbearing stage mother to her meteoric rise as a burlesque icon and the shocking betrayals that shaped her path, Gypsy's story is nothing short of extraordinary. Stick around as we uncover the secrets, scandals, and resilience of this legendary performer. Gypsy Rose Lee, born Rose Louise Hovick in Seattle, Washington, in January 1911, entered a world already defined by her mother's unrelenting ambition. Even before her first cry, Rose Thompson Hovick had mapped out a life in the spotlight for her child. Mother Rose's dream of stardom burned so brightly that it consumed everyone around her, particularly her daughters. From the moment Gypsy could balance on her tiny feet, her mother enrolled her in dance classes, believing that the stage would be her daughter's destiny. However, the reality was far from the fantasy. Despite Mother Rose's high hopes, Gypsy's initial forays into performing were met with disappointment. Her lack of natural talent became glaringly obvious, especially to a mother who demanded perfection. This early failure set the stage for a shift in focus when, just a year later, Gypsy's younger sister June was born. Unlike Gypsy, June possessed an innate charisma and talent that lit up the stage. She quickly became the family star, dazzling audiences with her charm and earning the kind of praise Mother Rose craved. But Mother Rose's ambition didn't stop at just showcasing June's talent. She was willing to bend and often break the rules to achieve her goals. Forging birth certificates to sidestep child labor laws was just one of the many ways she ensured her daughters remained on stage, no matter the cost. For Gypsy, this relentless push into show business was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it opened doors to a world of opportunities. On the other, it kept her firmly in June's shadow, relegated to the role of the other sister. Yet even as June basked in the spotlight, Gypsy found her own way to shine, though it wasn't on stage. In the classroom, Gypsy discovered she had a sharp intellect, excelling academically and impressing her teachers. This academic success became a small but meaningful refuge for her, a place where she could distinguish herself, if not in the way her mother had envisioned. Gypsy's childhood was a complex web of ambition, comparison, and quiet resilience. While June's star burned brightly, Gypsy was left to navigate a world where she was constantly reminded of her shortcomings in her mother's eyes. This early struggle for identity and recognition would become a defining theme in her life, shaping the wit, determination, and charm that would later make her a legend. Gypsy's formative years were not just a story of sibling rivalry or a mother's relentless drive. They were the beginning of a journey filled with contradictions, heartbreak, and eventual triumph. It was within these early years, under her mother's watchful and often ruthless eye, that the seeds of Gypsy Rose Lee's future as a burlesque icon were unknowingly sown. The Hovick family was a portrait of ambition, chaos, and dysfunction, with Mother Rose at the helm, steering her daughters towards stardom with reckless abandon. Her relentless pursuit of fame wasn't merely a dream, it was an obsession. Yet behind the glittering facade of their vaudeville performances lay a reality far grimmer. While Gypsy and June brought in substantial earnings as performers, Rose's erratic and irresponsible management of their finances left the family in a perpetual state of instability. Shockingly, There were times when the girls, despite their success, went hungry. For Gypsy and June, the stage wasn't just a place of performance. It was also a battleground for survival and their mother's approval. Rose's parenting style, if it could even be called that, revolved around pushing her daughters to the edge, often ignoring their well-being. Her manipulation knew no bounds, as she exploited their talents and youth to fulfill her unquenchable thirst for recognition and fortune. June, who was undeniably the more talented of the two, bore the brunt of Rose's intense expectations. By the time she was a teenager, June had grown weary of the endless demands and suffocating control. In an act of defiance that shocked both her family and the industry, June eloped in 1928, escaping her mother's grasp and leaving Gypsy behind to carry the weight of Rose's ambitions. For Gypsy, who had always been overshadowed by her sister's talent, this was a turning point. Suddenly, Gypsy was thrust into the spotlight, but not in the way anyone had imagined. Without June, the family act faltered, forcing Gypsy to find her own path forward. Lacking her sister's natural stage presence, she relied on her sharp wit, striking beauty, and resourcefulness. It was these qualities, rather than raw talent, that eventually led her into the world of burlesque. At first, she entered reluctantly, burdened by the stigma and uncertainty of this risque profession. Yet, as Gypsy discovered, burlesque offered her something vaudeville never could, a stage where her unique charm and intelligence could shine. The Hovick family's story is a complex tapestry of ambition, neglect, and resilience. Rose's unyielding pursuit of fame not only strained her daughters to their limits, but also left behind a legacy of manipulation and scandal. For Gypsy, this turbulent family dynamic became both a curse and a catalyst, forcing her to forge her own path in a world that had constantly underestimated her. Despite the chaos and dysfunction, Gypsy would rise above it all, using the very wit and determination born from her struggles to carve out her place in history. Gypsy Rose Lee's journey into burlesque was as unexpected as it was transformative. According to one widely recounted tale, her career began with a wardrobe mishap during a performance where a strap broke, leaving her momentarily exposed. The crowd erupted in cheers, and in that vulnerable yet electric moment, Gypsy discovered that she could captivate an audience without needing the traditional stage talents of song or dance. Whether or not this story is entirely accurate, it reflects the essence of Gypsy's genius, her ability to turn the unexpected into opportunity. Gypsy's rise in burlesque was meteoric. With a mix of wit, elegance, and an alluring stage presence, she redefined what it meant to perform. Her act wasn't just about the art of undressing. It was a theatrical experience infused with clever humor and sophistication. Unlike many of her contemporaries, Gypsy didn't rely solely on physicality to charm her audience. She used her sharp intellect, often engaging in playful banter with her crowds. This unique blend of sensuality and intellect catapulted her to stardom, particularly at venues like Minsky's Burlesque, where she became one of the top-billed performers. One of the most notable comparisons was with Sally Rand, another burlesque legend renowned for her delicate and captivating fan dance. While Rand dazzled with ethereal movements, Gypsy's strength lay in her razor-sharp wit and magnetic stage presence. Where Rand turned burlesque into a visual art form, Gypsy elevated it with her storytelling and humor, creating a cerebral and comedic dimension that was entirely her own. This contrast not only highlighted Gypsy's unique talents, but also solidified her role as a trailblazer who redefined what it meant to be a burlesque performer. Come Back with Gypsy, her stage name, Gypsy Rose Lee, wasn't merely a moniker. It was a declaration of reinvention. It allowed her to shed the shadows of her tumultuous childhood and step into a persona that was both glamorous and enigmatic. However, fame came with its challenges. Behind the curtain, Gypsy faced harsh criticism, particularly accusations of plagiarism. It was said that she borrowed heavily from other performers' routines and from risque material popularized by acts outside of burlesque. While some dismissed these claims, others saw them as evidence of her willingness to cut corners, to stay ahead in a fiercely competitive industry. Adding to her notoriety were her romantic escapades, which often made as many headlines as her performances. Gypsy's relationships were anything but conventional. She had a string of affairs, many with married men, the most infamous being her scandalous relationship with Broadway producer Michael Todd. Their affair, marked by passion and drama, further cemented her image as a femme fatale who lived as boldly off stage as she did on it. Gypsy's career and personal life were a constant interplay of brilliance and controversy. While she dazzled audiences with her charm and ingenuity, the whispers of scandal followed her wherever she went. Yet, rather than shy away from the drama, Gypsy seemed to embrace it, understanding that a touch of infamy could amplify her allure. In doing so, she became not just a performer, but an icon, a woman who navigated the complexities of fame, scandal, and reinvention with a fearless determination that continues to captivate to this day. Gypsy Rose Lee's love life was as intricate and dramatic as the performances that made her a star. With her sharp wit and undeniable allure, she attracted admirers from every corner of society. Yet her romantic journey was anything but conventional. It was a path paved with intense passion, calculated risks, and poignant heartbreaks, underscoring a relentless pursuit of connection and stability in a life that often lacked both. Gypsy Rose Lee's first foray into marriage at the age of 18 was as unexpected as it was short-lived. In 1929, she wed Arnold Bob Mizzy, a young, affluent Chicago businessman, in what seemed to be an attempt to break free from her mother's overbearing control. While the marriage offered a glimpse of independence, it quickly unraveled under the weight of her mother's interference and Gypsy's own uncertainties about her future. This early chapter in her personal life revealed her longing for autonomy and set the stage for her later, more publicized relationships. Though it ended in divorce, this marriage marked a pivotal moment in Gypsy's life, underscoring her ongoing struggle to assert her identity outside her mother's shadow. Among her many relationships, Gypsy's affair with renowned director Otto Preminger stands out for its profound impact. Their relationship wasn't just another chapter in her romantic life, it was transformative. The love they shared brought her the greatest joy she would ever know, her son, Eric. For Gypsy, Eric became her anchor amid the storm of her chaotic personal life. In him, she saw the opportunity to create a haven of love and security that had been absent from her own childhood. Determined to protect Eric from the shadows of her past, Gypsy worked tirelessly to shield him from the turbulence that so often surrounded her. As a mother, she showed unconditional love and compassion, even when her romantic relationships fell apart. One of the most intriguing and controversial episodes in Gypsy Rose Lee's love life was her short-lived marriage to actor William Alexander Kirkland. Far from being a whirlwind romance born of passion, this union was a calculated gambit. Gypsy's heart at the time belonged to Broadway producer Michael Todd, a man known for his charisma, power, and charm. Her marriage to Kirkland wasn't a declaration of love, but rather a bold strategic move to ignite jealousy in Todd, hoping it would compel him to claim her as his own. Gypsy's plan, however, didn't go as she envisioned. Michael Todd, deeply embedded in his existing marriage and unwilling to risk his public and personal life, remained emotionally aloof. Despite Gypsy's efforts to draw him closer, Todd's distance was unshakable. The marriage to Kirkland, once envisioned as a triumphant chess move, quickly unraveled into a disappointing stalemate. The media of the time had a field day with the story. Tabloid headlines speculated about Gypsy's motives, her love triangle with Todd and Kirkland, and the cracks in the marriage from the very start. Fan reactions were polarized. Some admired her audacity and boldness to take control of her love life in such an unconventional way, while others criticized her for using marriage as a tool in a romantic game. Despite the divided opinions, one thing was clear. Gypsy Rose Lee had a knack for keeping herself at the center of public fascination. Kirkland, though briefly a part of Gypsy's story, found himself overshadowed by the larger-than-life drama surrounding his wife. Fans and critics alike viewed him more as a pawn in her scheme than as a central figure in her life. Public sympathy leaned toward Gypsy, with many seeing her failed marriage as a reflection of her vulnerability and the emotional risks she took in the name of love. As the marriage dissolved, Gypsy faced the fallout with her characteristic resilience. While the experience left her emotionally bruised, it also added another layer to her already complex persona. Fans rallied behind her, admiring her courage to seek love and connection even when the odds were stacked against her. Media outlets painted her as both a victim of unrequited love and a shrewd woman unafraid to play by her own rules. In the aftermath, Gypsy channeled her heartbreak into her work, leaning on the wit and charm that had always been her signature. The failed marriage became another chapter in her ever-evolving story, a testament to her humanity and her unrelenting pursuit of happiness. Through it all, Gypsy remained a figure who defied expectations, one who was unafraid to take risks, face public scrutiny, and emerge stronger on the other side. Her relationship with Todd was no less complicated. Their affair was marked by fiery passion, but also by deep frustration. Todd's reluctance to commit fully to Gypsy left her yearning for more than fleeting moments of connection. Theirs was a relationship of stark contrasts, intense yet unbalanced, glamorous on the outside, but fraught with emotional turmoil beneath the surface. For Gypsy, this dynamic mirrored much of her life, always on the edge of achieving fulfillment, yet somehow just out of reach. Despite the tumultuous nature of her romances, Gypsy's resilience shone through. She refused to let heartbreak define her or deter her from seeking meaningful relationships. However, it was not in romantic love that Gypsy found her truest fulfillment. It was in the unbreakable bond she forged with her son. Her devotion to Eric became the cornerstone of her later years, a testament to her determination to rewrite the narrative of her life. Gypsy's romantic journey wasn't just a series of fleeting affairs and missteps, it was a reflection of her humanity. She embraced love with courage, even when it led to heartbreak. Her relationships, though messy and imperfect, were proof of her relentless optimism and her desire to define her life on her own terms. In the end, Gypsy's greatest triumph wasn't in finding the perfect partner, but in creating a legacy of resilience, love, and self-reinvention that continues to inspire. Through all the highs and lows of her romantic life, Gypsy Rose Lee showed us that love, in all its forms, is both beautiful and complex, a journey worth taking, even when it's fraught with challenges. The relationship between Gypsy Rose Lee and her mother, Rose Thompson Hovick, was a complex and often dark thread woven through Gypsy's life. Rose wasn't just a mother. She was a force of nature whose relentless ambition and manipulation cast a long shadow over her daughter. Their bond, marked by a mix of dependence, control, and resentment, was both the making and the breaking of Gypsy. Mother Rose's unwavering desire for fame not only shaped Gypsy's childhood, but also left deep emotional scars. She controlled every aspect of Gypsy's early life, treating her less like a daughter and more like a means to an end. As Gypsy grew older and began forging her own path, Rose's jealousy took a sinister turn. Unable to accept her daughter's independence or burgeoning success, Rose clung to control, often resorting to guilt and manipulation to keep Gypsy tethered. This fraught relationship reached its chilling climax on Rose's deathbed. Her parting words to Gypsy, "Wherever you go, I'll be right there when you get your own private kick in the butt," were a haunting reminder of her lifelong control. It was as if Rose wanted to ensure that even in death, she remained a looming presence in Gypsy's life. But the tensions between them weren't just confined to their personal interactions. Allegations of a dark and scandalous incident involving Rose and her supposed lover, Genevieve Augustine, added a troubling layer to their story. Augustine, who lived in a boarding house run by Rose, was fatally wounded under mysterious circumstances. Whispers of a love triangle involving Augustine, Rose, and even Gypsy herself fueled a whirlwind of speculation. While some accounts suggested Rose's jealousy drove the fatal encounter, others implicated Gypsy, painting her as a central figure in this tangled drama. This scandal, though never fully proven, underscored the toxicity of Gypsy's relationship with her mother. Rose's inability to separate her own desires from her daughter's lives created a volatile dynamic that left lasting wounds. For Gypsy, escaping her mother's grasp wasn't just a matter of physical distance, but also an emotional struggle to reclaim her identity and autonomy. Despite the darkness of their relationship, it's undeniable that Rose's influence shaped the woman Gypsy became, for better or worse. Her mother's drive and determination may have pushed Gypsy into the spotlight, but it was Gypsy's resilience and wit that allowed her to rise above the manipulation and leave her own indelible mark on history. Gypsy Rose Lee's impact extended far beyond the stage, reaching into the lives of marginalized communities during a time of widespread discrimination. Her connections within the LGBTQ+ community were particularly notable, as she forged close friendships with many gay men in the entertainment industry who found her humor, wit, and boldness inspiring. Her mother's boarding house, though often the center of scandal, became a quiet sanctuary for LGBTQ+ individuals seeking refuge in an otherwise hostile world. This unspoken solidarity revealed a compassionate side to Gypsy, as she provided a space where those who felt ostracized could find acceptance. In an era when such alliances were rare, Gypsy's connection to the LGBTQ+ community highlighted her progressive spirit and willingness to challenge societal norms, not just on stage, but in her everyday life. As Gypsy Rose Lee matured, she began seeking a new identity beyond the world of burlesque. While her performances had made her a star, Gypsy yearned for recognition that extended beyond the glimmering stages of striptease. She turned to acting and writing, hoping to reinvent herself once more. Her most ambitious venture came in the form of her memoir, a revealing yet often dramatized account of her life and her family. This book, equal parts fact and embellishment, offered a vivid, sometimes controversial, look into the Hovick family dynamics, including her fraught relationship with her sister June. The memoir wasn't without consequences. Though it brought Gypsy financial stability and even inspired successful stage and screen adaptations, it strained her bond with June, who felt the narrative painted her in an unflattering light. Still, Gypsy's ability to weave her life into compelling stories demonstrated the sharp wit and charisma that had always defined her. She understood the power of storytelling, not just to entertain, but to control her narrative and secure her legacy. In the 1960s, Gypsy expanded her career yet again by stepping into the world of television. The Gypsy Rose Lee Show, which aired from 1965 to 1968, showcased her magnetic personality and further cemented her place as a beloved entertainer. Even as her burlesque days became a thing of the past, Gypsy never lost sight of what had made her famous: her ability to captivate an audience with charm, humor, and a hint of intrigue. One of the most poignant chapters of her later years came when she performed for American troops in Vietnam. At nearly 60 years old, Gypsy proved that her spirit and stage presence remained undiminished. The soldiers, far from home and seeking moments of joy in a war-torn landscape, cheered and celebrated her performance, a testament to her enduring appeal. It was a final act of generosity to an audience that adored her. Tragically, shortly after her return from Vietnam, Gypsy was diagnosed with lung cancer. The diagnosis brought a painful reflection on her life, particularly her mother's haunting final words, which seemed to echo in her darkest moments. Despite the devastating news, Gypsy faced her illness with the same resilience that had carried her through a lifetime of challenges. When Gypsy Rose Lee passed away in Los Angeles in 1970, the world lost a woman who was far more than just a burlesque performer. She was a cultural phenomenon. Her passing marked the end of an era, yet her legacy remains as vibrant and compelling as the performances that captivated audiences decades earlier. Gypsy's life was a testament to the power of reinvention, resilience, and a fearless embrace of individuality, making her story as relevant today as it was during her heyday. Throughout her career, Gypsy had a unique ability to redefine herself in the face of societal expectations. What began as a reluctant entry into burlesque became a platform for her to showcase not only her beauty but also her sharp intellect and disarming wit. She elevated burlesque from mere titillation to a sophisticated art form, captivating audiences with her storytelling and playful banter. Fans adored her for this rare blend of charm and intelligence, seeing her as a beacon of empowerment in a world that often underestimated women. When news of her death broke, it sent ripples through the entertainment world. Fans, fellow performers, and media outlets alike paid tribute to a woman who had shattered stereotypes and paved the way for future generations of entertainers. Headlines described her as the Queen of Burlesque, a woman ahead of her time, and a trailblazer who turned scandal into strength. The public response was a mixture of admiration and reflection on the bold choices she made in a career that spanned more than 3 decades. Gypsy continuously adapted to new challenges, proving her versatility beyond the stage. She transitioned into writing, television, and even acting, proving her versatility and determination to remain relevant. Beyond the stage, Gypsy Rose Lee's creativity extended into the literary world, showcasing a talent that surprised even her most ardent fans. In 1941, she published The G-String Murders, a mystery novel set in the vibrant, gritty world of burlesque. The book was an instant success, praised for its sharp wit, clever storytelling, and insider's perspective on an industry few understood. Critics lauded it as a remarkable debut, with one review calling it an unexpected literary gem from the Queen of Burlesque. For Gypsy, the novel was more than just a creative endeavor. It was a declaration of her versatility and intellect. She proved to the world that she wasn't just a performer, but also a writer capable of captivating audiences through the power of words. Fans were thrilled by this new facet of her talent, and The G-String Murders cemented her reputation as a multifaceted entertainer who could succeed in any arena she entered. Audiences saw her not just as a performer, but as a multidimensional figure who could turn personal struggles into triumphs. In the years following her death, her influence continued to grow. Modern performers in burlesque and beyond cited Gypsy Rose Lee as a source of inspiration, crediting her with legitimizing and elevating the art form. Documentaries, biographies, and retrospectives have kept her memory alive, often focusing on her ability to challenge norms and break barriers with a grace that few could emulate. For fans, Gypsy's story serves as a reminder that resilience and reinvention are timeless virtues. She proved that life's challenges, no matter how daunting, could be turned into opportunities to shine. From her tumultuous childhood to her controversial career and beyond, Gypsy Rose Lee's journey was one of constant evolution, a reminder that staying true to oneself, even when society demands otherwise, is the ultimate act of courage. As audiences today look back on her life, the overwhelming sentiment remains one of admiration. Whether through her clever performances, her poignant writings, or her enduring legacy, Gypsy Rose Lee continues to inspire. She didn't just perform on the stage, she owned it, and her legacy ensures that she will forever remain unforgettable. Gypsy's story is more than just history. It's a call to embrace individuality, challenge conventions, and face life's adversities with wit and determination. In every sense, she was, and still is, a pioneer, proving that reinvention isn't just possible, but essential to staying unforgettable. And there you have it, the riveting tale of Gypsy Rose Lee, a woman whose life was as dazzling as it was controversial. From her humble beginnings to her reign as the Queen of Burlesque, Gypsy's journey was defined by her ability to turn obstacles into opportunities and make the world her stage. Her legacy lives on as a testament to the power of reinvention and resilience. If you enjoyed this deep dive into her fascinating story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more incredible tales of history's most captivating figures. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.